You know, the essay. We've all had to write one, probably for school, right? And we all kind of think we know what it is. But have you ever stopped to actually ask, what is an essay? Really? It is a way tougher question than you'd think. And the answer? Well, it's this incredible secret history that spans centuries. And today we're going to uncover it.
So let's start by seeing what some of the heavy hitters had to say. First up, the legendary Dr. Samuel Johnson, and wow, he sounds almost like he dislikes it. He calls it an irregular, indigested piece. I mean, that sounds less like a literary form and more like a bad meal, doesn't it? It's like he's describing a messy first draft, not a work of art.
Okay, but then you get this, a complete 180. W.H. Hudson swings the pendulum way over to the other side. He argues that the true essay is all about self-expression. It's not some irregular mess, it's deeply, deeply personal. So, which one is it?
And just when you think you've got a handle on it, here comes another one to throw a wrench in the works. The critic George Saintsbury offers this really charming definition. He imagines the essay as a casual, intelligent conversation. So it's not a messy draft, it's not a deep confession, it's just a pleasant chat. We've got three brilliant minds here, and three totally different ideas about what an essay is.
This is the exact puzzle we're here to solve. How can one form be all of these things at the same time? Well, the answer isn't in a dictionary, it's in its incredible journey through time. So let's trace its footsteps, starting right at the very beginning.
Our story kicks off not in some stuffy English classroom, but in 16th century France. It starts with a single writer who was doing something new, and, well, he needed a word for it.
And the name he chose tells you everything about its humble origins. This French writer, Montaigne, called his writings essays. And what does that mean? It literally means attempts, or tries. Isn't that perfect? He wasn't pretending to be the world's leading expert on anything. He was just trying. He was making an effort, an attempt to understand things from his own point of view. So this new form eventually hops across the English Channel and lands right in the hands of Francis Bacon. Now, this guy is a real game changer. We call him the father of the English essay because he took Montaigne's personal, wandering attempt and forged it into something very, very different. And what a change it was. You know, where Montaigne wandered through a subject, Bacon marched. His essays weren't personal explorations, nope. They were these tight, structured, objective powerhouses of wisdom. He called them counsels, civil and moral. Basically, practical guides for how to live your life. The man could pack an entire paragraph's worth of thought into a single, punchy sentence. Okay, on to the next stage of our journey. The essay is about to get a major makeover. It's leaving the philosopher's quiet study and it's stepping out into the loud, bustling world of the 18th century. And out there in the real world, it found a brand new job description. In the 1700s, the essay became a tool for social reform. Seriously, the goal was no longer just to offer some timeless wisdom, but to actively go out and shape society, to improve the tastes, the manners, and the morals of the quickly growing middle class. So how did this happen? It was kind of a perfect storm, really. First, you have a whole new reading public hanging out in coffee houses, and they're just hungry for stuff to read and talk about. So to meet that demand, magazines and journals, periodicals, start popping up everywhere. And that's when brilliant writers step in. They use these new publications to talk about everyday life, all with this perfect double mission, to amuse and to improve. And this became the absolute golden age of the periodical essay. All of a sudden, you've got these iconic publications like The Tatler and The Spectator by Addison and Steele. You got literary giants getting in on the action like Oliver Goldsmith and, get this, Dr. Johnson, the same guy who called the essay an indigested piece. The essay was no longer a private thought, it was a public conversation. But, you know, things change. After a whole century of trying to fix society, the essay was about to do another one of its dramatic pivots. It turned away from the public square and started to look inward. And the shift was, well, it was huge. If you put the two eras side by side, you can really see it. The 18th century essay was all about social reform, with a public, objective tone. But the 19th century essay, it was all about self-expression, with a deeply personal, subjective tone.
We're moving on from Addison and Steele to writers like Lamb and Hazlitt.
And the writer who was really at the heart of this personal turn was Charles Lamb. They called him the Prince of English Essayists, and for good reason. He completely redefined the form, making it a direct reflection of his own heart and his own mind. So what was his secret? It was all about his connection with you, the reader. Reading a Charles Lamb's essay feels like sitting down with a close friend. He doesn't lecture you, he confides in you. He shares his joys, his sorrows, his weird little habits. He's not treating you like a student he needs to improve, but like a friend he can trust.
And Lamb wasn't alone in this. It was a full-on autobiographical wave. You had William Hazlitt, who was famously frank and outspoken, and Thomas de Quincey, who wrote personally about pretty much everything, from his friends to his own life experiences. The essay had officially become a vessel for the self.
Okay, that was a long and winding journey, which brings us, finally, to the modern age. Where did the essay finally land after all that?
So, where are we today? Well, the modern essay is this fascinating hybrid. It's basically embraced its entire history. It's personal and chatty, combining that conversational tone from the 18th century with the deep vulnerability of the 19th. It's still this flexible, powerful form, a potent vehicle for the criticism of life, and it's thriving everywhere, from magazines to all over the internet. And with that, we can finally solve our initial mystery. See, an essay isn't defined by what it's about, its matter. It can be about anything, from stars to old shoes. Its true identity is in its manner, in how it approaches a subject. It's about that personal curiosity, that style, that feeling of exploration.
Which brings us right back to the very beginning. Montaigne called his writings attempts, and after all these centuries, the form has never lost that beautiful spirit of trying, of exploring, of just figuring things out. It's a timeless tool for understanding the world and for understanding yourself. So I guess that leaves just one last question. What will you attempt with it?